Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Wicked Witch of LA here with another video on herbs and plant magic. So today, I haven't posted in a while. I know I was kind of doing like a 2 videos a week kind of thing. Last week I didn't really post as much because I was tired. But today I do feel a little bit more, revitalized. So I wanted to share with you a little bit about our next plant, and that is going to be sage. Now, every witch in the world knows about sage, and they have probably used sage, owned sage, or have come across sage. Even non-witches come across it everywhere we go. Now, sage, its Latin name, or its scientific name, is Salvia officinalis. And there's different types of sage. Most of them have links to the moon as well as Venus and Jupiter. And like I said, there are many types of sage. There's white sage, garden sage, Jerusalem sage, Mexican sagebush, red sage. I mean, there's a lot of sage out there. And we all know, hopefully, a little bit of its history, that it was used a lot ceremonially by the natives, Native Americans and Native Mexicans, at least when part of America, California, Texas, and that was still belonged to the Mexican region. And it was used a lot in ceremonies. It's been used in Native American ceremonies for different things, such as getting rid of malevolent forces. It's been used in a lot of healing magic as well. A lot of Native healing ceremonies use sage for that reason. And one of the things that I've noticed a lot about sage is that people use it without really knowing about it, what else it can do, what it really does. And I kind of wanted to share with you all a little bit about that, and also the different types of sage and how you can use them and incorporate them into your magic. Now, we all, of course, have seen white sage. You see it sold majority of the time in bundles like this. Now, I have a lot of these bundles, and there's some that I've collected over the years. Some of these are pretty old, or some of them have been gifted to me. Personally, I try not to use them too much. It is a plant that is over harvested. So I try not to buy white sage. Like if I don't need it, if it's not urgent, I'm not gonna get it, because again, it is a little bit over harvested. Again, I know I have a lot here, but some of this was gifted to me. Some of this I purchased on my own throughout the years, and I still have it. But yes, it is an over harvested plant. So again, I try not to go through it too quickly. I do fortunately have a white sage bush growing in my driveway. So sometimes I will go out. It is very common here in California. So I do go out and I harvest my own. So this is some white sage that I've gotten myself. And this right here, now this is Jerusalem sage. Same family as, the sage that we're seeing here before. Beautiful colors. And again, there's actually, a lot of the sage I have here is actually growing like in my driveway. So this is actually 100% edible. Not all sages are edible, so please don't go around eating sage. Wicked's telling you right now. But this plant's actually 100% edible, and is used in a lot of culinary dishes. So, and it's beautiful. This is completely dried out. Again, I went out, I snipped this, harvested it myself, and just hung it out for about 2 weeks to dry. And it's absolutely amazing. And this one right here, which again, I did get this for my own driveway that's growing there. This is Mexican bush sage, and this has been dried out for like months, and it still retains that beautiful purple color. I actually have this inside my Santa Muerte candle. I do have an altar for her. It's right behind me. And yeah, this is great. I love having this. As soon as this candle burnt down, I was like, I'm putting some in here for her. Absolutely great plant to have. Now, going back to what sage can do, is we all know sage, and we talk about how it's great for cleansing, and we use it for cleansing, cleaning, the aura, and yada, yada, yada. But there are a couple other things that sage can do, and it's important to talk about the kind of cleansing that sage does. Now, sage is a lot of time used to get rid of malevolent forces, negative energies. That's pretty much what a lot of witches know or use it for, especially new witches. If you're new to the craft, if you're new to witchcraft, people have probably told you to like sage your room or sage your home, your items with white sage. Now, the problem with this is that, and it's not really a problem, it's actually a great thing, is that white sage restores balance. It leaves a great clean slate. Now, the problem with that is a lot of people think that you can sage once and that's all you got to do. and that's wrong. When you purify your home, when you restore balance into your home, it's really important that you put up some protective barriers. You want to be able to leave your home protected because it makes no difference if you clean your home, if you purify, you cleanse it, and then the next day all that negativity just comes back in because you didn't put up any protection. So that's just a little tip. If you weren't aware of that, sage does, in a sense, neutralize the home. It restores that balance. But you always want to do something protective right after to make sure that those forces don't come back into your home. Now, one of the things that I use sage personally, and this is the main reason why I use it, is I use it a lot. And I mean like a lot in healing magic. Sage was used once mostly for healing magic. And that's what I use it for. And what's great about it is, and I'm looking into my grimoire right now, some of the notes that I have written, is that it promotes spiritual, mental, and physical health and aids in self-purification. So this is really, really good in healing sachets, in healing mojo bags. It's all encompassing when it comes to healing. And it's very, very powerful for that. So that's what I use it mostly for, just for that. Now, a couple ways that you can do that is that if you want to have some healing energies, you can make a spray out of it. So you can take a spray bottle, put a couple leaves in there, fill it with some water, kind of shake it around a bit, let it seep for a while. You can put it out in the sun, or you can actually boil some water with sage in it and then pour the water into your bottle and spray it around to promote healing energies, or as an alternative to get rid of negative energy. So if you're in an environment where you can't burn sage, for example, if you have young kids, if you have pets, and there's not a lot of great circulation, because whenever you're burning herbs, and it's really important that you guys know this, whenever you're burning herbs, you want to make sure that there's good circulation. One, you don't want your fire alarm to go off because it's annoying. But two, it's not always best for your health to breathe in a lot of smoke. So make sure you've got some windows open and some good circulation going. So as an alternative, you can put this with water in a spray bottle and spray your room or whatever it is that you're trying to cleanse. Now, when it comes to healing, you can use this in any way. You can use it, again, for sprays. You can put this inside poppets or voodoo dolls. You can put this in sachets. You can put a couple leaves into your pocket or wherever. If you're trying to promote healing as, for the spirit, you can actually crush up and grind up some sage, and you can dress a white candle with it. You can also use blue, works just as well for healing. Again, sage, white sage especially, was used a lot in healing. So I personally believe that sage does better at healing than it does for cleansing. There are a lot of herbs out there for cleansing. I personally like to use basil, rosemary, things like that when I want to get rid of negative energy or banish malicious or malevolent forces from my home. I personally use white sage for healing rather. Now, again, there are different types of sage, and all sages tend, they're all in the same family, and they tend to share very similar magical correspondences. They all have healing correspondences, and they all do have purification correspondences. Now, for example, Mexican bush sage, this is a great offering to deities and to spirits. There's a reason why I have it inside my Santa Muerte candle holder. This is a great offering to spirits. They love Mexican bush sage. It's beautiful in color. Again, once it's dried, it retains that color. It's amazing. But it's also really good for easing. It's great for easing anger. It's great for easing a lot of emotional pain. If you're someone who's been going through a lot lately and you feel like there's just a lot of hurt, Mexican bush sage, I guarantee, will do the trick. You can also hang this over your front door to keep depression at bay. If you're someone who struggles with a lot of depression, I personally have used this myself, and it really, really helps me out just to have some near me. It's really helped me a lot to, whenever I'm having really heavy, depression episodes, I'll hang some over my bed, I'll hang some over my door. Sometimes if I have extra, I'll kind of just lightly brush it around my head. And let me tell you, it'll do wonders. And you can do the same thing with white sage. If you have some white sage, get some of the water, like we said earlier, get some of the water that you use to make with your white sage, and just massage your temples with it. And I guarantee it's going to help you a lot with helping out upstairs. Now, my favorite form of sage, which is, again, the Jerusalem sage. One, you can eat it, which is great. I'm never going to go hungry because it grows a lot in my area. But this is really great for promoting life, prosperity, and joy. So if you want to add some really good, happy energies, get some Jerusalem sage in there. This is very powerful as well for healing, and it's very powerful for purification. So this does a lot. I mean, Jerusalem sage is really, really good stuff. You can use the entire plant. You don't just have to use the leaves or just these flowers. The whole plant. I do have a jar of it in my apothecary, but you can really use this. I personally like to have it hanging by my front door, and actually have a stock up on my bookshelf. But it's really great for really bringing in positive energies. And it's also really good for attracting good spirits. Now, as witches, it's important that we surround ourselves with good spirits. So you can definitely hang up some Jerusalem sage if you do have it available in your area to attract good spirits and really good positive energies. Now, I know when it comes to like different sages, Jerusalem sage and Mexican sagebrush may not be as easy and as common to come by as sage, but it was more so for me to share with you the other types of sage that are out there. Of course, there are a ton more, and I actually do have another one over here, but I'm just gonna leave that one there. But again, most sages do share very similar properties. Some do have some extra, and some do have, maybe not as many correspondences. But there's many ways to use them. So don't ever feel like you need to be stuck with white sage. Again, this is the most common one, but again, it is because it is a bit of an over-harvested plant. So really, if you have white sage, don't chew through it. Don't burn all of it. There are many, many ways you can use this. Again, it's amazing for healing. Take a shot every time I've said healing in this video, if you're of age, or else I'm gonna slap it right across the face. Now, a couple little spells that you can do with sage. Now, you can do this with any sage leaf, is that you can actually write a wish on a sage leaf and put it under your pillow for 3 nights. If in those 3 nights you dream about your wish, it's a sign that it could come true. If in those 3 nights you don't really dream about it, it most likely will not come to pass, and you take the leaf and you throw it outside, you throw it away, or throw it in the trash. A couple other spells that you can do with sage is that if you really want to protect someone from sickness, you can actually crush up some sage, light a white candle, and make a circle of sage around the candle and inscribe the name of the target on the white candle. It's a great way to protect them from illness, and also a great way to promote healing for themselves. Again, I'm talking more about healing, but again, it does do well with getting rid of negative energy. Of course, everyone knows, you burn sage for that, but don't just limit it to that. Again, it's so much more potent when it comes to healing and self-purification. That was one of the first notes that I meant. And another thing before I forget, and I know I'm rambling a lot here, but that's because I'm a rambler. Sage is really, really good when you're dealing with loss and grief. And and that's a really important note, because sometimes when we're dealing with losses, we're dealing with grief, and that doesn't always mean losing someone. There's different types of losses and different types of grief. You can definitely use sage to help cope with that, to help move past that. Loss and grief is a normal part of life. It happens to all of us at one point or another. And sometimes, it gets tough, and sometimes it's a little bit too much to bear. So if you are dealing with, with loss and grief, or someone that's dealing with it, you can definitely use sage to help with that. You can dress a white candle, write their name on, the target's name, and just dress it with some sage. You can put a couple leaves in a sachet and just carry it with you as well. Very, very, very good for that as well, to bring peace into the home. And it's really important, and it's important that, for myself to make this note. Look at the history of sage. We have it because of the native people of this land. It's because of them that we have this sage, that we know about it today. And I do see appropriation happen with sage. It does happen, especially when you see it at certain stores where, they have like the health and beauty kits, and, they'll sell you like all these like little health and beauty things, and then they have like a little bundle of sage, or, people buy it for no real reason, or they buy it because it's a trend or a fad, and they'll just burn it because of that. You want to make sure that you are very respectful with sage. And this can go for any plant, but just look at the history of this. You know, the native people of our land took great pride in how they used it, working with the spirits and using it, you know, to help out their community. So it's really important that if you're using sage, be respectful. You know, honor its heritage, honor its people. If you feel like you're going to be using sage because of the trend, because of the fad, don't use it at all. And I know that sounds a little bit more serious, but it's really important that we always respect and honor, you know, the spirit of the plant, but also the spirit of the people that brought this to us. All right, so that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know normally when I talk about my herbs, I kind of have things set up differently. But today I really wanted to, you know, switch it up a little bit because one, I wanted to show you the other plants and also just share that last bit of information with you all. Last little tidbits, if you, because I always talk about, you know, different herbs you can pair with them. If you do want to give extra oomph and purification with sage, rosemary and basil works really well. And if you do want to use it more for healing purposes, you can definitely do a little bit of eucalyptus and mint. Any type of mint, they all have really good healing properties. Mint, peppermint, spearmint, things like that. And if you are dealing with loss and grief and you do need a little bit of peace to come into your home, you can pair it with lavender. Lavender and vervain, really, really good for peace and to help cope during hard times. All right, my beautiful witches, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate and love all of you. I have to say thank you to everyone. My Instagram started off with like 10 people. You know, I think I opened it like late 2018 or 19, I can't even remember. And this past few weeks, it's really just skyrocketed. In the past few weeks, I've already gone up like almost 300 followers. And that means a lot because the reason I do all of this is for you witches, because I want to teach you something. I want to learn from you all, and I want to share my knowledge. I want to share my experiences with you. We can all learn from each other. So it doesn't matter if you've been a witch for 1 minute, and it doesn't matter if you've been a witch for 20,000 years. We are all on different paths, and we all share one goal, and that's to gain knowledge, to better ourselves and to better the people around us using the beautiful energies and magic that the world has given us. All right, enough of the sap story. I'm already tearing up, blah, blah, blah. Thank you so much, my beautiful witches. Once again, I will see you in the next video. Please take care of yourselves. Be safe out there. And if you have any questions, like always, you're more than welcome to comment down below. Leave me a message on Instagram at WickedWitchOfLA. All right, beautiful witches. Mwah! Love you all. Goodbye.